Hi everybody, and welcome to a cascade crochet tutorial on how to design your own patterns. I've had a lot of questions from people asking me about how my design process goes when I'm creating new patterns. I've just had a new pattern drop in the last week, so that was very exciting. And a lot of people wanted to know sort of what goes into it, how do I get started, and hopefully I'm going to be able to give you all of those answers today. So you'll be able to see behind me. So this one and this one, this is basically the new shawl that I've just dropped. It's called the Parrots in Flight shawl, and I'm going to show you exactly what you need so that you can design your own patterns, whether it be for shawls, blankets, tops, cardigans, whatever takes your fancy. Okay, so the first step, obviously, is to find your inspiration. So where I live, there's quite a lot of wildlife, and I generally tap into nature for my inspiration. So for my Parrots in Flight shawl and for my eagle tail shawl, basically exactly as the name goes, I was inspired by the myriad of parrots that we get here and by the Australian wedge-tailed eagle. So the first thing you need is a notebook that has unlined pages. Okay, so this is super important because what you're going to do is, as soon as an idea hits you, you're going to start scribbling out those little ideas. So just give you a sneak peek of one of my little pages. That's my single snowflake shawl, which the pattern will be up hopefully in the coming weeks. We'll see how it goes. You all know that I have challenges with functional neurological disorder. And while you can tell my speech is like 100% better, numbers are coming very difficult to me. So I have a huge box of stitch markers here and another box of about 200 stitch markers that I use to count my rounds, because yeah, otherwise it's just absolutely impossible for me to get an accurate stitch count. And while it works while I'm actually creating it, when I go to actually just write down the pattern, not quite as helpful. So basically, you get your idea, you draw down the sort of thing that you want to do. That's just a preliminary drawing of what I did. It's not exactly the same as what my blanket ended up being. It's sort of, my blanket's a bit more rounded, so you know, that was fun. And what I did for my parrots, my eagle shawl, was actually drew kind of a design of how I wanted it to sit, with like big wings to come down and then have a tail. And honestly, when you're in that design process, you just want to make it as fanciful as you can. So whatever the limits of your imagination are, just push yourself to those limits. It may not end up practical, or it may end up practical. So you just want to have, you know, half a dozen little designs sketched out, and then once you find that right design, that right shape that you like, eventually you'll start sitting there and putting in, like, okay, so these will have shell stitches in this segment, or this will be like all double crochet. And this is for, you know, beginners all the way through to advanced. Just because you're beginning in the process of crochet doesn't mean that you can't design something beautiful. So what you need to do is, I recommend to, I guess, expand your toolkit of stitches. Whether that means, you know, just practicing over and over like a few different stitches, or watching lots of online tutorials, just getting down some nice textured stitches and things like that, just because the idea will, like, the idea is that it'll open you up to more opportunity. So whereas if you were like you know, just really stuck on your double crochet stitch, for example, and I use US terms, so please keep that in mind. If you're stuck on your double crochet, you know, something textured like a pea stitch, you might not even think of that because you've only just started, you've never heard of a pea stitch. I'm like, what is she talking about, a pea stitch? Oh my gosh. So I just recommend to go through, watch some tutorials, even if you just flick through pictures online to see different textures that you enjoy or different clusters of stitches that you enjoy, just you like the look of, and learning those. That's a really, really great place to start. So we've got our unlined notebook. The second thing we need is a lined notebook, which, I mean, it sounds very silly when you say it so matter-of-factly. So basically from here, what you want to write down is sort of the title of what you want your project to be. So I was very, very stuck on the idea of parrots in flight or the wedge-tail eagle shawl. So I knew from day one that's what it was going to be, that's what it was called, that's what I was calling it to everyone. So that was my title, like right then and there. You might be undecided on a title, and that's okay. So you can just write down what kind of project you're going to create. So it might just be winged shawl or tailed shawl or a fillet shawl. So that's one thing where I definitely myself need a bit more practice. I'm super unfamiliar with fillet, so that's where you do your design by leaving spaces blank, and the people that can do it are just incredible. I've got a friend and she's amazing at it. All right, so second, after you've got your lined notebook, get your pen, and then you get the kind of material that you're hoping to use for it. So some people say just to sort of get, you know, some plain cotton, something that's, you know, not really fancy, just something where you can create the basic structure of your design. I say find the fanciest yarn in your stash. So like here, so this is what I'm actually using for my next design. So which is Hobby Universe in Halloween. I think this one was called Spooky Zombie or something. So it's purples, it's greens, it's got shimmery purple thread through it. It's crazy because I like the idea of my very first item that I've created to be wearable, to be practical. So you're not going, yep, I've created this and now I've got to make it again. And now I've got to make it again, and now I've got to make it again. So this is where your product testers will come in, but that's a little bit further down the track. So, you know, get your crazy blues, get your purples, get your rainbows, get out that fun yarn that you're going to look at and you think, yes, this is a fun color, something that makes you really want to pick up the project every single day. So, you know, if you'd rather do it with just kind of a plain yarn, a plain cotton, that's completely up to you. But my recommendation is to make it fun. Make it a fun color. Make it a fun series of colors. Like just go crazy with it. You know, this is your creation. So if you're not inspired every single day when you go to pick up a project, then I'll find that you keep kind of putting it off. So my snowflake blanket that I created, I'll give you guys a sneak peek, which is a sneak peek. Okay, so we've gone from dark blue center to white on the outside. Okay, which obviously it's very good for a snowflake, but it was not the most inspired colored choice like that I would have like selected personally. So if I and I did select it, but it's not, if I was looking again to remake that project, I probably would have chosen a more interesting colorway, just because after a while, just that same blue after same blue after same blue every single day, it kind of just grates on you. And then the next color change it's just so slight that you're just like, oh gosh, the color barely has changed. And so even in my Parrots in Flight shawl, this blue one, where the color change is really sort of like a really soft, gradual color change, you can actually see the color change. Plus, it's got a whole heap of sparkle through it. So, like, the sparkle makes it fun as well. So if you can't get those big color changes, I suggest, you know, use a bit of sparkle, use something that's going to make you interested every time you pick up that project. Okay, the next thing I recommend, but it's absolutely not necessary, is a crochet journal. So I got this one from Hobby. You can get them from anywhere. You can just use a regular notebook. So you kind of got on here like your project, designer, the yarn that you're using, any comments, the colors, yarn lots, the tension of the project, hook size, how much yarn you're using, so forth and so forth. But on the other side, you've got a really great little dots grid page, which can also be really nice to draw out some of your patterns. So I'm just going to flick back to my very first eagle tail concept. I actually drew it out in here because I didn't have my other blank notebook. So you can see I've kind of gone, yeah, I'm going to go there. I want these big tail feathers. And so you can kind of see where I've just been scribbling all over it. And, you know, like in here I've got, you know, do like, you know, open shell stitches. You want to do an increase every this number of rows. Like once you finish it, you want to add in a little bit of extra so that the tail's a bit longer. So I already had that kind of idea, but these kind of books are just really helpful to hear so that you can keep track of your projects as you're going along. And basically, that's all you need to get started. Your hook, some stitch markers, take your blank book, take a pen, take a pencil, go wander out in nature, go talk to your friends, browse online. Think about that item in your wardrobe that you really wish existed but doesn't exist yet. And it might not be because that item doesn't exist, but it might be that you can put your own very special spin on it. You can make a crochet version of that particular item, that wrap dress that you've always wanted, that skirt, that top, that cardigan. You know, it might be something that's lurking in your brain. So I hope this was really helpful. And if you enjoyed it, please drop me a like, drop me a follow. Let me know if you're inspired to create something, if this has helped you in your journey to create something fantastic. And I can't wait to make some more videos for you guys, because as you can tell, my speaking is back to normal now, which is fantastic news. We only sort of go a bit funny when I get stressed, and you know, that's okay. As long as the talking's back and as long as I can do a bit of crochet, I'm perfectly happy at the moment. So all the best to all of you brand new crochet designers out there, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Mwah.